Daniel Ricciardo is undoubtedly one of F1's most loved superstars. This is why the thought of Daniel sitting out the 2023 season is gut-wrenching to most fans of the sport. And while Daniel has remained adamant about the fact that he indeed will be sitting out next season, what is still unsure is where he would be specifically sitting. Will he be at home like the rest of us, tuning into race weekends at the comfort of our own living rooms? Will he be sitting in an F1 garage as a third driver? Or even in an IndyCar to keep himself busy? Well, let's talk about it then. But before we do, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss out on our latest uploads. Now that's out of the way, let's get started. During his heyday not too far long ago, Daniel was seen as one of the brightest talents in F1. But after a tumultuous 2 seasons at McLaren, the Australian driver is looking to start anew someplace else. And while no team has officially given him an active seat for next season, Mercedes' team boss Toto Wolff would reveal to the media that Daniel has been speaking to a bunch of teams about the possibility of him being a number 3 driver. And while Toto would remain neutral about the likelihood that Mercedes would sign Daniel as their number 3 driver, Toto would say, "I think Daniel is talking to several teams about a possible role as a reserve. Or us, we think he's a great character, but we're not yet ready to say who our third driver will be next season. His personality is an absolute strength, and Daniel has been here for a long time. He knows these cars inside out. That can definitely be an advantage, but I don't want to start any rumors here because the truth is that we haven't decided anything yet." But, according to most experts, Daniel signing with the team would not make sense, since the team has George Russell tied up for a couple more years. And as for his teammate Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion has recently been consistently suggesting that he would want to extend his stay with the team after his contract expires in 2023. But with all of that having to come into play, Daniel would say that his future ambitions aren't reliant on the decisions of the other drivers, while simultaneously saying that he hopes that Lewis does extend with Mercedes. "The truth is, I want him to stay in the sport. He's one of the greatest ever to do it, and I think competing with him, going wheel to wheel with him, is fun. It's awesome. It's normally at the pointy end, so I certainly wish to do that more in the future," said Ricciardo. "That's where it currently lies. I think my future will be... I don't think it's relative to what others do. I think it's, how do I say it, like opportunities will arise when they do, but I'm not banking on anyone doing something so I can find my way." And now we circle back to Daniel saying that he is almost 100% certain that he won't be racing with the pack in 2023. "I'm sure seeing the lights go out in race 1, I'll already have that itch, so I will want to be back in 2024. I feel like a bit of time away from a race seat will do me good, and then try to rebuild on something for 2024. I'm not done, but it will look a bit different. I honestly don't know where right now. I'm certainly talking to teams, but I still want to obviously keep a foot in the door, as I said, for 2024. I'm sure seeing the lights go out in race 1, I'll already have that itch, so I will want to be back in 2024. And as much as it pained all of us to see Daniel's decline these past 2 seasons, the Australian driver would reveal that it was just as hard or even harder for him and the people around him. Daniel would say that his on-track struggles had dominoed into more problems in his personal life. "Whenever we thought we had found a solution, along would come another set of challenges," he told the Daily Mail. "When you put so much into something and it doesn't work out, there is sadness. It gets to you. Last year it affected me a little bit too much. I wouldn't be my usual bubbly self. I'd be reluctant if someone said, 'Let's go out to dinner.' I would need some cajoling. I let it get to me. I started to speak to a psychologist last year. The most challenging year I have had. Racing is very much results-driven and dictates your Sunday happiness. I was neglecting friendships, and I thought it would be good to talk to someone to make sure the two sides of my life didn't cross over. You need perspective. And with the calendar being so long, it was hard to remove yourself from what was happening in the racing. For most people, hearing what Daniel had to go through would bring a greater understanding as to why Daniel has been adamant about taking a sabbatical for next season. That would not be the case for former F1 champion and now Sky Sports F1 pundit Jenson Button, as he believes that even a short break from the sport may cause everyone to forget about him. I guess he didn't want to drop too far down the grid and work with a team that's more towards the rear, because it's difficult for a driver coming from a team that is almost winning races at times to suddenly know you're fighting for points, said Jenson. It is tough, but I still think it would have been a better move for him. Go into a team, work hard, show people what you can do, in a car that maybe suits your car a bit more, and then people forget what happened the year before. That's the issue now. People forget how good Ricciardo is because he's had such a difficult year and a half, or 2 years, but he has the talent, and in a car that suits him, he would show his skill and then he has the opportunity to race in a top team again. But sitting out? People just remember what happened last year. It's a tricky one, and I really struggled to see him coming back to a competitive team after having a year out. Now, should Daniel not be welcomed back to the sport after a brief sabbatical, former F1 driver Romain Grosjean would say that Daniel would perfectly fit into the IndyCar world. And although Daniel has previously gone on record to squash any possibility of him racing in IndyCar because of his fear of oval racing, Romain would say that there is an option to not race ovals. Well, I think Daniel's got the same concern as I had when I got into it, the ovals, Grosjean said on Sky F1's Any Driven Monday. Once you actually get into the ovals and you realize how the cars are made and how the safety is going on and all the research around it, I think you can ease yourself into it. There's also an option not to do the ovals and then doing all the road races. I think Daniel would love it. I think we would just have some fun. It's a very easygoing championship. All the drivers play together with banter. When you go on track, it's just about racing and no bloody BS. Daniel would absolutely love it, and if he doesn't feel like doing the ovals at first, just don't do them. Try short ovals, and then I'm pretty sure he would do all of them. And there you have it, guys. So, would you rather see Daniel take a third driver role in F1 next season? Or would you want him to try his luck in IndyCar? Let us know in the comment section below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't.